Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So I want to talk a little bit here about push-ups. We spend most of the time on this channel talking about training, quality of movement, technique, and every now and then we like to dive into kind of the darker world of the competition settings. So the reason that this does have a place is just because out in the real world, there is nobody sitting there telling you that you have to do a push-up. So I love the argument against bicep curls because everyone likes, especially CrossFitters, love to make fun of people doing bicep curls because they say they're not functional, which I completely disagree with. It's pretty easy to imagine having a bag of groceries and bicep curling up to a counter or something like that. So the other thing that I find very humorous is these people saying bicep curls aren't functional are doing a lot of push-ups. So the push-up is an interesting one because and I'm not saying don't do bicep curls, don't do push-ups. We do push-ups all the time. I'm saying push-ups not very functional in itself. It's a functional accessory work because there's nothing in the real world where we would actually do a push-up. We would do a burpee or a kipping push-up variation. So when we're talking about competing in push-ups, it's kind of a funny thing, but what we can learn from this little aspect of kind of dropping to the ground is something that we can carry over into the burpee. And if we're playing a sport or needing to dive down or something like that, we can kind of use this knowledge to our advantage there too. So let's dig into it. So if we have a regular push-up, I'm going to get nice and tight. Competition standards for a push-up are typically your chest and thighs need to touch the ground, and then you need to extend all the way up. So what happens to a lot of people is when they're trying to compete in push-ups, there's too much of the training going on, and they're controlling the motion down. So whenever we're talking competition, the thing we need to keep in mind is the negative aspect of the movement is the most muscle fatiguing and muscle damaging. So if I'm lowering myself to the ground, that's where most of the muscle damage is occurring, not in the upward motion of the push-up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drop to the ground. The other tough thing is at the bottom, that's probably the weakest part. So if I just drop to the ground, and this sounds kind of funny, I'm going to just bounce off of the ground, and that bounce is going to give me a little bit of momentum up, so it almost like kips the bottom. So I hope you can hear this on the microphone here, but we'll kind of see. I'll just do 5 real fast. And that would be more kind of a competition setting push-up. None of the technique really changes. I'm still trying to draw my belly button in. I'm still trying to get tight. I'm still creating that external torque. But now I'm just pulling out these little competitive, almost loopholes in these movements where I'm taking my training and I'm turning it into things that are more functional. So if you're asking me how many times I can get my chest and thighs on the ground and extend my arms all the way up at the top using push-up technique, dropping and bouncing off of the ground is going to be the way to do it. So one more time. Play around with it. Let me know how it goes. Talk to y'all soon.